So yesterday I ran into my best friend from high school. We're not best friends any longer. We had some falling out. And when I saw her, I almost didn't recognize her because she had gained a lot of weight. But I didn't go up to her and say like, oh, hey, you don't look so good. Like, I just kind of caught up with her and was like, hey, how are you? I miss you. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's catch up. A Chinese proverb says, do not use a hatchet to remove a fly from your friend's forehead. I think we can just see this with my friend's encounter, because it's not like I went up to her straight away and said, hey, you've gained a lot of weight, because that would be rude. I did so with ease and gentleness and kind of slowly built up the conversation, and I said, hey, I almost didn't recognize you, and she told me why, and it just so happens that they put her on a drug for a disease that she has, and it's making her gain weight, so it's not like she's just fallen out. It's actually medicine. Today I want to share with you how to build up a friendship without ending it, which I know sounds ironic because that friendship has kind of passed. But I go to a camp every year and we go over 4 steps, and it's called the 4 ORMs. So you form, you storm, norm, and perform. So I want to just kind of go over those steps and show you how you can gently ease into a friendship without having to end that friendship right away. So when you're forming in a friendship, you're getting to know someone. You don't want to jump right in and totally be yourself. Usually people are more reserved. For example, when I'm usually first in a class, I'll tend to sit in the back and I won't say much until I kind of know the people around me, and I'll kind of adapt to what they do. Just because I don't want someone to judge me for being too outgoing, because I tend to have a really out there personality, and sometimes it's hard for people to handle what I have to offer. So I'm more reserved. I see this a lot with kids at camp, just because when you're in a cabin, you have a week to get to know everyone in your cabin. So you tend to go through these steps really quickly. You get to know everybody the first day. By the time you step on the bus, I've known these kids for 45 minutes, and I already know all of their names. Once you get onto the bus, the first day is just kind of forming, you're getting to know each other, kids are making friends. But then all of a sudden day 2 comes, and you're starting to see true colors, and you're seeing who are the leaders of the group and who are the quiet ones. And if you have 2 leaders, they start to storm and they start fighting. And it's kind of like a tornado picture where everything just goes abrupt and goes wrong. Because these kids aren't using ease and gentleness. They're basically trying to remove that fly with a hatchet because they don't know who this kid is. So they're just trying to knock it off right away. Step 3, they start to norm, which norm is kind of like a friend. Like if I had a friend named Norm, this is my friend. So they start building friendships and getting to know one another, and things become good, and everything starts to settle and go well. Games start becoming easier, tasks that we ask them to do, for example, we have one team building exercise called the stick game, and your entire cabin has to put their finger on a stick and try to get it down to the ground, but it's hard because everyone ends up going up and the stick starts to float, because it's difficult when you have 2 people and you can't balance it correctly. But then by step 4, you start to perform, and you see these kids really thrive because they're making their friendships. You find out who's the leader and who's going to take care of things and who's sitting back more, and they start to build around each other. And that's when you can really start to perform in a friendship, is after you've become that person's friend and you can really tell them with ease and gentleness about hey, yeah, I have seen that you've gained weight. I didn't want to say anything, and oh no, that's okay, I really just want to know, for my story earlier, my friend actually asked me flat out, she's like, can you just be honest with me, because people haven't told me directly where I'm gaining weight? And I said, yeah, of course, I'd love to, because that's just the kind of person I am. I want to be honest with her and let her know, but I want to do it in a gentle and easing way, so that way we can take our relationship back from that storm that we had after high school back up to norming, and then from there perform back to where we were. So I hope you guys kind of see the difference between the 4 ORMs now, and you can kind of help build that relationship and see in your relationships where you're falling out and where you need to be, and you can see where you are in your relationships that you're building.
I don't know yet. Were you going to offer me your quotes back?
Yeah.
I'll get some others. We're okay today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I like the personal story at the beginning, and the transition to the topic was solid. I like the interpretation that you took with the topic and the way you kind of connected with it during the speech. I thought that you started off pretty strongly in the first couple of points. When you got to the end of the speech, it did feel a little bit like you were wandering on the content instead of sticking with the original point that you had. Your presentation issues are solid from the beginning. You look out, you're engaged with the audience for the most part, although again, I do think a little bit toward the end that you were doing less of that, but there's a lot of energy in your voice. Some of it seems like you were rushing a bit, and I do think that you want to pace yourself a little bit at times because the energy level might be getting away from you. And I thought, especially at the end of the speech, that that's part of the problem with the wandering, is that you kind of were outpacing yourself about where you were headed, and then you just kind of ended up and you were a little uncertain about where to go, and instead of having a smooth finish, it just felt a little bit less polished than it could have been. But most of the presentation issues are really solid. All right, thank you.